Yo, how's it going, guys? It's Richie Unicorn Caller here. Let's first off with console news because that's literally the only comment I always get. It's a long video today, but don't worry, I have timestamps. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. So over here, and as I've told you every other day of the week, still there is no news about console. The only thing we've gotten was the whole Xbox game preview beta, which we've talked about for months. We still don't know anything about that. And you can look in their own Discord channel yourself. These are the announcements. They haven't really posted much since July 7th. And there still are the constant bug reports that are being reported. So yeah, it looks like, personally for me, I don't see this coming out at all this year. And I actually have a few notes about Wizard101 console as well that I wanted to talk about. So first mention, still in stage 2, right? Which is the membership elixirs that are in the crown shop, so you can buy those elixirs and then play through the beta. And I know it's already controversial that you have to pay in order to play a little bit more of the beta, so that's definitely kind of a red flag right there for most players. And again, it's only available on the Xbox game preview beta. There's still no word yet on the whole PlayStation and Nintendo Switch betas, which probably won't happen, to be honest. Still plenty of issues that need to be resolved, including all the bugs and quest blockers or anything else. So, bear that in mind. And it's also almost approaching the 1 year mark since its announcement. It was originally announced all the way in August 29th, 2024, right? And now it's August something, I believe August 13th, and it is 2025. So it would have been at least 1 year by now ever since that they announced that Wizard101 is quote unquote coming soon to consoles. So I don't know. Is there a risk of competition? Is it going to be overshadowed by other releases? Or is there going to be a decline of interest? Those are just the many factors I like to think about whenever this is still ongoing. You know what I'm saying? Personally, for me, I've been playing a lot of the Battlefield 6 beta, which we'll get into later in the video. But still, going back to the whole Wizard101 on console news, if you guys don't know the same things I told you last time, just a reminder, there's still no crossplay with PC at all, so PC and console is completely separate, and there's also no cross save with PC and other console accounts. So if you play on an account on a specific console, that's pretty much going to have to be like your only console and your only account. There's no way to really cross save or cross play in between the two. It just has to be like one account, and that's pretty much it. You can make an Xbox account, you can make a PlayStation account, you can play with PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch players, but if you're on PC, that's like completely separate, which is fine with me, honestly. Okay, so let's get on to the second big thing that I wanted to talk about. And I know it sucks that there's not really any console news, but like I said, I really don't see this coming out this year, and if it does, it's gonna be a little rough. But again, I'll keep you guys updated on whatever you see. By the way, if you Google when Wizard101 is coming out on console, the Google AI will actually scan my April Fool's video, which I'm still getting comments about that video. I think a lot of people are really taking that for granted. But the April Fool's video included me saying that it's coming out in 2077, which is a reference to Cyberpunk 2077. So no, Wizard101 on console is not coming out in 2077. I don't even think I'll be alive by then. So just don't worry about that, or don't Google it, because there really is no information about when Wizard101 is coming to console in general, because they haven't given us any type of information whatsoever. And the only thing that the AI does is just scan for any little bit of information it can find, in which case there really isn't that much information about it. So again, we'll just have to wait and see and find out. And you can join their official Wizard101 Discord and put your notifications on for them, but it's been quiet for a very long time, so I don't know. Anyway, let's talk about the second big mention. Now, this is going to be talking about the Fantastic Fight Fest, because on August 7th, they actually had some patch notes that I wanted to read, because these patch notes are pretty interesting, but I wanted to give some clarity about them. So, for the Fantastic Fight Fest, which we've talked about many times, it should now appear on the first page of the Events tab, which is nice. The Fantastic Fest, or the Fight Fest, now properly level scales players up. That was a bug that happened like first week. It corrected the name of some Fight Fest recipes that mismatched with their respective item names, which is nice. It fixed an issue where multiple Fight Fest interiors would say, "Are you sure you want to leave?" after the boss death. Resolved some issues where bosses would disappear if someone in the group had already completed certain side quests. Fantastic Fight Fest equipment sold by Manfred is now tradable across characters, which is also nice. However, a reminder that some of that gear is going to be locked behind the waves, so you might not even be able to get it in general. And that's actually where we're about to come up and talk about right now. Fix an issue where Fight Fest would award points for teaming up in a non-featured world. Fight Fest progress goals should now have clearer requirement, which is pretty interesting. Temporarily disable the Arc 1 protection from Spring 2021 update that favored players questing in Arc 1 for those team-ups. And if you guys missed that previous video, we talked about the Fantastic Fight Fest problems, and that was one of the problems I personally had, is where they basically level gated the whole team-up system a long time ago, but it looks like, at least from patch notes, they recently disabled that, and it is pretty cool to see some of the Wizard City team-ups fill up again. You know, I think a lot of people were confused. A lot of people said, like, oh, wait, I see Arc 1 team-ups all the time, but if you're over-leveled, you won't actually see those team-ups, because back in 2021, they wanted people to be around the same level range, so they don't just one-shot the boss as, you know, like a one-shot Tempest, and then it's not really a fun game anymore. But yeah, they temporarily disabled that, so now if the featured world is ever in Arc 1, then it should be a lot easier to actually, like, do that goal. They also fixed an issue where the team-up kiosk would stick, showing the team-ups for the world that is not correctly selected. Pretty cool stuff. And then we also had some Aquila Chronicle content update, which I thought were pretty good. It corrected the price of the Aquila Second Chance chest. Yeah, of course they corrected the price. After reviewing player feedback and data, we've decided to reduce the prices of the Aquila Second Chance chest to make them more appropriately balanced. Yeah, you think? I mean, those chests were kind of expensive, you know, but whatever. And we understand that some players may have already purchased Second Chance chests before this adjustment, so to show our appreciation, we're enabling the free Second Chance chest role member benefit through August 13th, which today is August 13th, so today's your last day to do any Second Chance chest that you want to do and get some nice little extra loot. But in my opinion, I thought that the Second Chance chests were already, like, way too high to begin with. So I think KI probably saw that, nobody's really buying it, it's too expensive, so they probably adjusted it and be like, okay, hopefully that's a little bit better, and it is frustrating. Again, we talk about these things, it becomes frustrating. It seems like a lot trial and error with this game, and usually it's more of like a trial and error with the players to see what makes the players tick. Like, oh, the players don't like this, we're gonna adjust that, which is fine. They did this patch really good, really quick. I like that, but again, maybe for future reference, don't make the Second Chance chest so extremely unbearable to the point where it's like kind of a waste of a money. And honestly, you don't even need to buy the chest. You could just potentially farm it, but a lot of people just don't want to farm it in general because of all the other issues, but that's for a different video. Anyway, let's talk about all the miscellaneous bug fixes. They fixed Quest Blocker, resolved an issue with Personal Daemon, Grizzleheim Tooltip, fixed an issue with Nova Scales of Knowledge, Niles the Balance Tree is no longer invisible in Classic mode, and the known issues are still the Spellments and the Scion spells. Scion spells are still kind of weird. I don't know what's going on with that. Skeletal Warrior has been fixed. Some other hatching routes still not might be behaving as intended. So, again, that's for that. So now that I talked about the patch notes, now I gotta talk about all the stuff that I have written down in my little handy dandy notebook, talking kind of about the Fantastic Fight Fest, in my opinion of it. And again, it's still a very rough kind of like event. I mean, the community progress bar is not, it's, it's decent. I mean, judging by the looks of it, we might actually get to Wave 3. And of course, we don't actually know if they did adjust it, at least from what the patch notes were saying. We don't know if they just adjusted the progress bar or not. It's kind of hard to get really any concrete data. There's no like numerical value to really find out. We just see the bar fill up and just hope for the best. So there's 18 days left, and I did the best I could, but to be honest, I just got bored of this event. The event just got so boring to me. I don't know. And the funny thing is, I'm actually doing more team ups not even affiliated with this Fantastic Fight Fest because it's that much boring. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It's just like, I don't know if they gotta adjust the awards or what. I don't know what's going on with it, but I don't know. I mean, it's all subjective. I mean, y'all can do it if you want. I just got completely bored of it. But anyway, we'll go over the patch notes. We already did that. There's still a big concern with the event being paywalled by premium worlds. So right now, the featured, quote-unquote, featured world is Zafaria. So if you don't have Zafaria, you actually won't be able to actually go into there. You have to either buy the world or area or, buy a membership, right? And that's probably the biggest issue of them all, is that this event isn't completely free to play in a sense, right? So I don't know what the solution for that would be. The only thing I can think of is a free membership period, but that's something that I doubt they would even consider doing. So that's up to KI to figure out. And that's up to everybody else on if they really want to pay the money to buy these worlds and just do this event for 30 days. And, yeah, I don't know. Still concerns with the community progress bar and participation, like I said. And there's still a big concern with the overall promotion of the event's launch. Because remember, when this event did get launched, there was no word of it at all. It wasn't on their Facebook. It wasn't on their Instagram. It wasn't even on their Twitter. The only thing they mentioned was that, oh, hey, it's broken in Discord. And that was it. I feel like they kind of hurt themselves a lot by not even mentioning this event the first week at all. Because a lot of people in general didn't know about this event. And I did my part. As soon as I saw this event go live, I was like, oh, hey, guys, new event. In a big old thumbnail and bold words and in all caps. I mean, I don't know what else to do as a content creator. I did the best I could to kind of push this out there. Be like, hey guys, there's this new event. Try it out. I even showed some gameplay of it. Obviously, that was the one that was broken. But again, they have to do their part on themselves. They have to do that part with the promotions and tweeting stuff and posting stuff. Like, that's something they also have to do because a lot of people follow those social media accounts, right? I think on like Facebook, they have like 300,000 followers or something ridiculous like that. Like, tweet or post there so people know about this, And it also doesn't help that it's locked behind the premium worlds. That's still an issue as well. And I'm still unsure about the event function. I'm unsure if the waves are timed by weeks or actual completions. When I read the actual I think summer update note, I think it did say that the waves will progress. If you complete wave 1, it will go to the next wave, and then if we somehow complete wave 2, it will go to wave 3, and then wave 4, etc., etc. So that's what I saw. But at least judging from the amount of time we have and also how slow the progress bar has been, I don't know. We'll just have to see. I think we can definitely, complete wave 2, but it's going to cut real close to wave 3. We'll see what happens. But anyway, yeah, content creators aren't, they're not really responsible for the promotion of the game, right? And that's the thing. You got the extra credit program, which I haven't really heard much from the extra credit program. I heard it's just kind of dead in a sense. Like, I haven't seen any tweets about the extra credits or any objectives about it. This will be a cool objective, I think, that they could do for the extra credit program, especially to kind of get the word out there that, hey, there's this event. But I don't really think you should really be, like, I don't know, relying on the content creators for that. Because, again, it is a very subjective type of event. Some people might not even like it. Some people might just be bored of it, like myself. There was zero mention of the event at all for that entire week. Like, at all. They did not mention it. I'm just like, say something about it, you know? Besides Discord, which was just mentioning that it was bugged. So even with the exposure, the community progression either has to be removed completely, hopefully once and for all, because they tried doing this in the decathlon event and it didn't work out, or just adjusted to a more appropriate amount so that it's actually, like, manageable in a sense, especially if you're going to have it locked by the premium worlds, right? Perhaps players and developers could benefit with a visible numerical counter, ? That way players can better understand the amount needed for the waves, and the devs can get a better idea on what the players think themselves. Like, if it's something ridiculous like 1 million points, then, I think that's just a little over the top. Maybe back in the day in 2008 when the game was a little bit more lively, yes. But I think right now, either that has to get toned down just a little bit to the point where it is progressing at a rate that the devs are comfortable with and that the community is happy with. Because a lot of people just want to get the mount and be done with the event in general. And personally for me, I'm just going to use all my tokens that I have and just spend it all on Azoth, because that's pretty much the only thing I want. I mean, the gear looks cool, but it's the same template over and over and over and over and over again, Like, I just don't need any more of that same old gear at all. Like, I just don't need it anymore. I mean, I know the hat looks cool, I guess, if you're looking for any stitching purposes, but again, it's just like, I don't know. It's just something about this event that just rubs me off the wrong way. I think it was just that initial week one that kind of gave a bad taste in my mouth, or just the fact how I don't want this game to become a chore, because when I feel like that the game is becoming a chore, then I start to not like it anymore. Right, and it's bad enough I'm already making raid keys and organizing all these the guild and stuff like that. When it becomes a chore, that's when I personally just don't like it. And maybe they could just, readjust it to a point where it is a little bit better. But yeah. Anyway, whenever it comes to oopsies, KI really takes accountability for any of the faults, just like owning up to the mistakes itself. It's not a sign of weakness, but it's just a sign of respect for your players as well, that just want the best for this game. And that's all we want. At the end of the day, we literally just want the best for this game. I feel like a lot of devs take a lot of the feedback as attacks, which aren't really that. I feel like it's getting misconstrued as disrespect, when in reality, we just want the best for this game. That's all I can say. And that's all I ever wanted with this game, right? I make all these videos talking about this game, complaining about this game, but at the end of the day, we just want the best for this game. I'm still going to play it regardless if you listen to me or not, or listen to anybody or not. I mean, I don't even care what you're doing about Dark Packs, which we're about to get to Shadow Packs real soon. But, at the end of the day, it's just like, we just want the best for this game. There was a lot of potential with this game, but that potential can only be met if you're willing to at least, accept weakness, in a sense. I definitely think that this event definitely needs a little bit time to bake a little bit more. Maybe just a little fine-tuning, especially with the community progress bar. It just becomes problematic when the problem is always finger pointing at the players, which I personally do not think is fair, considering the event is locked behind premium worlds, lackluster rewards, and an unmotivated community progress bar, which again can be very unmotivating. Iridian Willow Gem on Twitter did ask, though, if the event coins from Manfred reset at midnight instead of 24 hours, It's a pain when your fights and redeeming coins are out of sync. That's a pretty cool idea, and that is a very nice suggestion. That is a very sweet suggestion. So it's suggestions like that be like, hey, that could be an idea. But anyway, that's enough talk about the fantastic Fight Fest, because honestly, I just don't care about the event anymore. I think that it just launched really poorly, and again, this game is filled with a lot of trial and error, and usually that trial and error could lead to a lot of like community displeasure. I mean, maybe I'll do it the next time it comes out, but I don't know. It's just like, it just seems boring to me. I don't know. Like, it's funny because I've been doing team ups and like everything else besides the event. Like, I'm specifically doing team ups to not get points for that fantastic Fight Fest event because I love doing team ups. I've been doing team ups for a long time, but I just don't care for the event. I don't know. Does that make me toxic in a sense that I'm not like helping the community out? In a sense, I am helping the community out because I'm only focused on anything else but the featured world. I don't know. Dude, I don't know. Go PvP or something. I don't care, man. Now, let's talk about something that might affect PvP and PvE as well. And this is going to be talking about Shadow Packs. Earlier, I said Dark Pack, but we're going to be talking about Shadow Packs. And this right here is when people are going to lose their mind. Buckle up, guys, because we got a lot to talk about. This is crazy, and this is coming from their dev stream when they were talking about Shadow Packs. Now, like I said, buckle up. You're in for a huge ride. Alright, Shadow Packs are a reimagining of Shadow Magic that will be released with the Darkmoor update this fall, right? So each Shadow spell, with minor exceptions, will now have a pact tied to it, right? It seems cool, right? Like, okay, cool. Like, what's the catch? There's always a catch, you know what I'm saying? You make a pact with a shadow creature to give you more power in exchange for hanging effects or health. So pacts consume one hanging effect per round. So if unavailable, the creature will grow. Upon the third round, the creature will damage you by 5% health for each growth. So, and this is a picture of what Dark Nova will basically look like now. And yeah, it looks very, very weird. So 75 base damage. By the way, this is all subject to change. This is still kind of an early work in progress. So 75 base shadow damage and plus 20% of charms times 3. And it looks like you pay with blades, I believe? Question mark. I don't know. But anyway, that's how Dark Nova, I guess, is going to somewhat look like. It's very confusing, so bear with me. Anyway, there will now be two main categories of shadow spells: creatures, which I don't care about, and transformations, which I do care about. So creatures will give you hang effects up front, while transformations boost your stats for the duration, which, again, I love transformations. And behold, the new glow bugs. So previously, we had the regular glow bugs, did a lot of damage, right? That's whatever. And then you had the Gambit version, Divide, it's whatever. So now the new version is basically going to lose its Shadow Pip, and then it's going to have its damage pretty much cut off by 520. So practically, it's an AoE, so you can use that as an AoE, or you can still use Bunny Yips. I mean, it doesn't really matter. And then, obviously, the new one is still the Divide spell, and then you could clear a damage over time for, like, a minus 20 weakness. So then, there's also going to be a Shadow Fusion, so you can actually fuse Dark Pact, or Dark Nova. I keep saying Dark Pact. You can fuse it with Glow Bugs, and then that will basically make you the original version, except it will, give you more damage, and it will give you that little, I guess, damage over time for the Shadow thing, the Dark Nova. And then it also comes with a similar Divide spell, and also the minus 30 weakness, and then, a dot. Yeah. Hieroglyphics, man. If you think this is bad, wait until I show you what Shadow Seraph looks like, because that is like, Shadow Seraph is like, what? It's very confusing, and a lot of players have already explained that they are not too happy about the changes. So, Yeah, they are kind of weird. But as Amoplex says, the creatures will give you the hanging effects up front, while the transformations will just boost your stats for the duration like always, right? So it's mainly the whole creature shadow magic thing that's a little bit weird. So there will be 7 transformation and 7 creature spells with the fall update, and this includes the pre-existing shadow spells and new ones to fill in the gaps, which is pretty cool. So new in-game tutorials will be added to the section of Moon Cliffs where you receive your first shadow spell. So if you ever needed a tutorial about that, or at least a new in-game tutorial, that will be fun to do, and hopefully you understand how it works, which is pretty nice. Anyway, all current shadow enhanced spells will be made into regular spells that can be fused with shadow spells to create shadow fusions. So basically every shadow spell that you can think of, going in from Glow Bugs, going in from Raging Bull, going in from Mystic Colossus, Cthulhu, like everything is gonna get like, I'm gonna be honest, probably nerfed to the ground, considering that their damage is gonna be halved off. They're gonna lose that Shadow Pip, which is very nice. However, if you do want to get the shadow version of that spell again, you will have to fuse it, unfortunately. So that is what Shadow Pacts is. And if you're still confused, don't worry, it's about to get even more confusing. This is basically what the new Shadow Seraph is going to look like, which is also a work in progress, bear in mind. And yes, it looks very, very disgusting, but as our good friend Court has said, kind of gave us a little bit of a easier translation for this. But basically, you are going to receive 25 outgoing damage, right? 25 outgoing damage, and then you're going to get 35 outgoing healing, which is awesome, and then a +1 life pip, right? So the player pays with helpful charms. So that's basically what the new Shadow Seraph is going to look like. Now, the OG Shadow Seraph is this, and this is basically actually kind of like a buff if you think about it. Because now, in this one, you take 25% incoming damage, and then you only get 25% outgoing healing, and then you also get the absorb on heals. Now, for the new version, you're going to get more, the same damage, right? And then you're also going to get more healing, right? I believe at to like 10% or 10% increase. Now you pay with the helpful charms now. So you can still do whatever you want, like heal and all that stuff. However, you're also going to be missing that absorb on impact part, which was an extra part of the Shadow Seraph, because they did say that, oh, it was just like too much or whatever, which is fair. But you're going to miss out on the absorb, which honestly, I don't really care about. The absorbs were only like at like 100 or like 90 or whatever. It was like a really weak absorb. Still nice to have, but yeah, that was gone now. And basically this pays off with a charm. So each round is going to take a charm, and if you don't pay off that pact, you're going to take 5% damage, or it can go up to 15% if you're not paying those charms each round. Now what you can do is pre-plan your pact. So let's say round 1, I'm just going to cast an elemental blade on myself, and I'm not even going to use it. So then next round, I will use Shadow Seraph, right? And each round, that Shadow Seraph is going to take one of those charms. And then at the end of those 3 turns, I basically won't take damage. And this is when I get personally excited. I used to use Shadow Seraph back in the day all the time, back in Darkmoor. It was fun to use. But also I'm curious about some of the other ones, such as Shadow Trickster and Shadow Sentinel. I would love to have Shadow Sentinel have an increase of a Shadow Intercept rather than just 10%. Because in-game, if you look at the screen right now, Shadow Sentinel kind of sucks. In a sense, you can only take at least minus 10% incoming damage from all of your other teammates, right? I would love for this to be buffed, and if there's some sort of like, I don't know if it's gonna like gambit off of like shields or what the pact is going to require for Shadow Sentinel, but I would love it if they buffed it to the point where maybe it's like 20%, maybe even 30% intercept, because that would be really versatile for any tank players out there that's just trying to halve off the damage a little bit from your team. Another reason why I think this would be pretty cool with the new versions is because if you already have the pact pre-planned, then you can pretty much do whatever you want. in a sense. Now, one reason I stopped using Shadow Sentinel is because whenever I would heal, the Shadow Sentinel didn't like that, and they would grow the backlash, right? So now, if you pay off that pact, then it doesn't really care what you do. Or at least that's what I hope it still does. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about Shadow Pacts. But I know a lot of people are very subjective with it because it is something new and they are trying to do something new with it. And I actually have some notes about that right now. Which is the last mention of it. Blah, blah, blah. You can pre-play your packs. Mainly excited about the defensive transformations such as Sentinel and Seraph. Shrike did get nerfed though. I believe they said it's a 40% Pierce now instead of 50%. And you also lose that 10% universal Pierce blade that goes on everybody as well. Because like they said, it's just too much going on with it or whatever. So yeah, Shadow Shrike did technically kind of get nerfed a little bit. But honestly, I don't really care about Shadow Shrike. Hopefully that doesn't mess up the Dragonspire raid too much, but again, we'll just have to wait and see. We'll wait and see. We'd like to see Sentinel, Shadow Sentinel buffed to an intercept more than 10% damage. I think that would be really cool. The pack system allows for more versatility with the transformations. For example, Sentinel could heal without adding backlash. That would be cool. For each missing pack, you can take 5% damage, like I said, for a total of 15% health damage. So just be on the lookout for that. Or better yet, you just don't use them in general. That is one thing you can do. You can just not use them in general like we've been doing for all these years. So yeah, if you don't like the new stuff that they're doing, just don't even use them. Don't even bother with them. Pre-existing shadow spells and new ones, which I like. And personally for me, I couldn't care less for the damage shadow enhanced spells at all. I don't care about glow bug, raging bug. I just don't care. Barely ever used them to begin with. I mean, I hated Wings of Fate. I still do hate Wings of Fate. I rarely use it. It's just, some of these spells just kind of suck in general. I'm more interested in the transformations, right? Don't care for glow bugs, like I said. Don't care for the spell fusions either. So, yeah. And that wraps it up for pretty much everything Shadow Pact related. It is very confusing. I think that on the live stream, no offense, I know they'll probably take offense to this. I thought the live stream was a little janky in a sense. Like, it was kind of hard to understand, like, how this system worked. But I think in general, a lot of people at the time were just very confused, as were I. Like, I'm still kind of confused on how this exact system is going to play out. I think once we get in the test run, we'll figure it out a lot more. But it is still confusing for a lot of people, and especially for casual players. I mean, imagine you're coming back to the game after, 10 years, and you have all this other junk to look at, all the spell changes, or spell mints, and all this other junk, there's raids, it's very weird, it's a very weird process to be in. So, I mean, I think I'll have fun with it, definitely we'll try it out, get some nice YouTube clips of it, but again, we'll just kind of have to wait and see how the player feedback is for that, because if it's super negative, then maybe they want to just backtrack and be like, okay, we won't do that again. But it just looks like going in for this upcoming update, it looks like all the spells are kind of getting a little bit tanked. So yeah, I don't know, we'll wait and see. I don't know, hopefully it doesn't affect the raids too much, but yeah, I don't know, man. We'll wait and see. We will wait and see. And then in general, for the fourth or final mention, just in general life, as you know, I've been in the, Florida. Finally, I'm done traveling. I'm so tired of traveling. What I want to do is get a job. Want to work at my local GameStop. Just want to get back into streaming as well. Also get my driver's license, just do all the adult stuff and all that stuff. I want to get back in the gym and, be healthy. I want to see my girlfriend again. I want to keep expanding my content outside of just Wizard101. Been playing a lot of the Battlefield 6 beta. Dude, I'm telling you, that beta is fun. And I've been a Battlefield player for a very long time. I probably have, 10 hours on the beta alone. I'm telling you, that is a very, very fun beta. So definitely can't wait to share some clips of that. And also can't wait for Borderlands 4. So that will also be fun too. But don't worry, I'm still going to play Wizard101 and obviously give y'all the Wizard101 news as per usual. I'm not going anywhere, but yeah, I just can't wait for that. But in general, that is pretty much it for the comeback. That is pretty much it. A lot to unpack there. And like I said, personally for me, I'm excited about Shadow Pacts. Like I said, it's going to be a little weird, but we'll just see how it goes. And again, I don't care much about the Fantastic Fight Fest event. You know, I just think it's boring, honestly. It doesn't really entice me. I don't even know if I even want the Azoth at this point. I'll probably just get it on my own time, but, you know. I don't know. I think if they put better rewards in, like, Spellments, kind of similar to the Portal Apparel, I would be a little bit more interested in it, but it's just like, meh, you know. And the mount, you know, I feel like even if I did get the mount, I'm probably not even going to use the mount. We really do need mount stitching and pet stitching in this game just someday, but it's like, meh, you know, it's whatever. But anyway, that's going to wrap it up for me. Enjoy the Pirate 101 update, because I know Pirate 101 just got an update. So let me know how you guys think about that. And if there is any Wizard101 console news in general, I will let you know. But, you know, like I said, lately there just really hasn't been much happening. So I'll keep you guys posted. But until then, I will see you guys later. And yeah, peace out.